Hillary Clinton's presidential bid could be in serious trouble tonight, and not just the sort of trouble, the sort of momentum issues the inside D.C. media likes to obsess over. No, trouble that boils down to numbers. Now, she's certainly not out of it. More than a dozen primaries and caucuses still to come. But here's her problem. After Obama's crushing victories in Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. last night by 24, 29, and 51% respectively, that now means 22 states plus the nation's capital are in Obama's win column. Clinton, by comparison, is won in 12 states, even if you include Florida and Michigan, which right now don't count because they moved up their primaries in violation of Democratic Party rules. But the number of states each has won is a misleading number. It doesn't matter. It's about votes and, most important, delegates. Obama now also with the lead in the popular vote, ahead of Clinton by nearly 700,000 votes. Even if you include the now disqualified Florida and Michigan votes, Obama's still ahead. But remember, in Michigan, Obama wasn't even on the ballot. But the real issue, delegates, and to me, pledged delegates, the ones people actually vote for. Obama's opened up a lead of more than 100 delegates, 1,078 to 969, according to NBC's latest estimates. But the numbers suggest an even more formidable hill to climb for Clinton. She needs to win 55% of the remaining delegates to overtake Obama. But he's expected to win his home state of Hawaii and Wisconsin, where he now has an 11-point lead in the latest poll. Victory there would mean she needs to win about 57% of the remaining delegates. Now, you toss in likely Obama victories in a range of states from Vermont and Wyoming to Mississippi and South Dakota, and the New York senator would have to snag 60% of the remaining delegates to catch up. The Democratic contests are not winner-take-all. It's proportional, so Clinton can't just win states. She needs to win big. But while some are on the verge of writing her political obituary, we ask, how can she turn it around? We look at the top 3 things Hillary Clinton could do to turn the tide. Joining us now, Rachel Maddow, MSNBC political analyst and Air America radio host, political analyst Lawrence O'Donnell, and Kate Obenshain with the Claire Booth Luce Policy Institute. All right, so we've asked our panelists to think hard and come up with the top 3 things the campaign could do now. They don't agree with all of these, but this is our compilation of their and my thoughts. Number 3, no one wants to talk about it. Going negative, harder against Obama. Rachel, I know that the campaign could never admit, we're going to go negative. But is that, do you think, a smart strategy at this point?
Well, they've got to create buyer's remorse among Democratic voters for Obama. And they got some blowback early on in the campaign by going negative against Obama at a time that the country wasn't ready to hear it. It came back at them. It hurt them more than it hurt him. So the way they've got to thread this needle is they've got to go after Obama in a way that doesn't make them look bad. And the way you do it is by saying he doesn't have a good enough defense. He doesn't know what's about to hit him from the Republicans. We know how to fight the slime machine. He's going to get bowled over by he's never had to face it.
But Lawrence, it sort of sounds like they've tried that already. I think that they've got to go even more negative. If it's going to make or break the campaign, it would seem to me that they've got to go, I guess if we're going to call them super delegates, we'll say super negative.
Exactly, Dan. They've already been pushing the line that Rachel just suggested about Obama's not ready for the big attacks, which is an interesting veiled kind of McCarthyism that the Clinton campaign's getting away with. They're suggesting that there's something horrible about Obama that the Republicans are going to reveal if you nominate him, if you make that mistake. But, Dan, going negative in a hardcore traditional way is extremely dangerous for the Clinton campaign. They can only do it if they think they have absolutely no other chance. That's the only reason for them to try to do it.
Kate, we've talked about, some people have said, this race has been so ugly. It hasn't been that ugly.
Oh, my gosh.
It just hasn't been.
Well, it's just been, the attacks have been very clumsily handled. What they need to do right now, and they've been very personal, they need to play on that searing doubt, even among Obama supporters, that underneath all that lovely soaring rhetoric, it's empty. They need to talk about his positions, his health care policy would leave 12, 13 million Americans uninsured. They need to talk, what I think would be the greatest attack, is talk about Obama in the Illinois state legislature. When a tough vote came up, he would vote present. Go after him substantively. Take that page of the Clinton playbook out and go after him on substance.
If you think that's going to create buyer's remorse among the Democratic
I think there's already.
Hang on, one at a time, Rachel.
If you think that's what's going to make Democrats turn away from Obama, if it's going to be the 12 million people who might or might not be covered in his health care program, or it's going to be voting present versus voting yes or no.
I think the present,
people aren't splitting those hairs, and you can't force it.
I think the present thing is very different from the health care. The health care, I agree with you. Look, the interpretations of what the effect of each health care plan is going to be is not going to be the win.
Right.
But the present thing is one of those things. It's a total cheap shot. We've talked about
it.
It is a cheap shot. It is a cheap shot. Look, it's a cheap shot. As I've said.
He couldn't take a stand.
Look, whether you like it or not, that was a strategy. No, look, it was a strategy in the Illinois state legislature. If you don't like it or not, that was the way they did things. But with that said, it's politics. It's the way politics are played. I mean, it seems to me...
You're not going to be able to look back at anything that's already happened in Barack Obama's political life and say, that shows that he sucks as a candidate.
Why?
You're going to have to look forward and say he can't handle what's about to hit him.
Lawrence, I think you can't. I think the best negative ads are the ones that look at the past and they distort it.
They normally are, but this guy doesn't have the size record that you need to find all these kinds of things to throw at him.
The number 2 thing that Clinton could do to turn the tides: secure key endorsements from party bigs like John Edwards and Bill Richardson. All right, does she go to Richardson, Lawrence, and say, you owe me? You owe me, Bill Richardson. Our family has made you. You better pay up.
I think that's a good way to scare off Bill Richardson. These are going to be difficult endorsements to wrestle in, and I'm not sure that the Richardson following and, say, the Edwards following haven't already had enough time to make up their minds about which way they're going. I think if Richardson, when he dropped out within 24, 48 hours, had made an endorsement, I think it could have had a much more serious effect. Same thing with Edwards. I'm not sure what those endorsements are worth now.
You know, Kate, I think I agree with Lawrence on this one. I mean, we all talk about the value of endorsements, et cetera. But we saw what the Kennedy endorsements did or didn't do. You think let's use John Edwards. If she gets John Edwards, does that change things?
No, it doesn't really change things. I think she needs to go after the patron saint of the Democrat Party right now, and that's Al Gore. And I know that would take a complete miracle, but she's got to start going for the nuclear option here, folks. She's got to go after his lack of substance, and she's got to go for Al Gore.
She doesn't want to start using the word miracle, the Huckabee word of miracles. All right.
I was thinking about miracles.
The number one thing Clinton could do to become the comeback kid part deux: debate, debate, debate. And she already seems to be hammering Obama on that.
Both Democratic candidates were invited to a televised debate here in Wisconsin. Hillary Clinton has said yes. Barack Obama hasn't. Maybe he'd prefer to give speeches than have to answer questions. Like why Hillary Clinton has the only health care plan that covers every American and the only economic plan that freezes foreclosures. Wisconsin deserves to hear both candidates debate the issues that matter, and that's not debatable.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
That ad in Wisconsin out today. Look, Rachel, you show that to the public, and 90% of them polled are going to say, I hate that ad. That ad isn't going to make a difference to me. But then the net effect of these ads tends to be, particularly in general elections, tends to be very effective. Something like that going to work?
Well, if this was a particularly nasty negative ad, I'd be with you, but this shows you how unnasty the Democratic race is. Maybe he'd prefer to give speeches. That counts as an attack? I mean, that just shows you how nice they are even when they're going supposedly negative. I can't even believe this counts as a negative ad.
All right. Kate, real quick, and then I'm going to ask you each percentage chance that Hillary's going to turn this around. Kate, what are your final thought on this debate?
He needs to keep saying no, 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 because he knows that she could land a knockout punch. And frankly, all he needs to do is say, we've debated ad nauseum, and let's start focusing on our Republican opponent, John McCain.
Yeah, but I think it's a smart strategy on her part to try and pull him out, make him, sort of shame him into debating her again and again and hope for a slip-up. All right, each of the panelists, I'm going to ask you a percentage chance that Hillary Clinton can actually turn this thing around. Rachel.
Oh, percentage chance?
Give me whatever way you want to quantify it.
49.
Lawrence?
I think it's 50-50. I think she showed a big win in California. That's the model she's looking for in Texas and Ohio and Pennsylvania. No one can say that she's not still capable of that. There's no evidence she's not still capable of that.
I mean, what is she going to do to make it 50-50?
keep playing her game. Look, I think that was a pretty effective ad that she's running in Wisconsin. And I think she's got to just find her own voice now for the rest of this campaign. She's got to. I mean, it sounds silly, but she really has to be herself on stage now.
Kate, what do you think?
I'll give the Democrats the benefit of the doubt that they're not going to be completely insane about this, and I'd say 12%.
12% chance that she's able to turn this around?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. I'm going to say it's still, I think it's less than 50%, but I think that this is, as we've said, it's still a ball game, so to speak. All right. Lawrence O'Donnell and Rachel Maddow.
This thing's a tie right now. This thing is working as a tie. Let's not lose sight of this.
It's not, Lawrence. Lawrence, look, I've been the guy out there saying that the media overstates this stuff. I just laid out the numbers a minute ago. The numbers are not a tie. Let's be clear. The numbers are not a tie.
A week ago, this was a tie.
Neither one of them have a way to get 2,000.
The trend is all in his direction.